Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, could you please take roll?
Member Cooper?
Here.
Councilmember Beaton?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski?
Here.
Councilmember Goodspeed?
Here.
Mayor Smith?
Here.
Councilmember Grabowski?
Here.
Councilmember Pontiac?
Here.
City Manager?
Here.
City Attorney?
Here.
DPW Director?
Here.
Finance Director?
Here.
Planning and Zoning Director? Public Safety Director?
Here.
City Engineer?
Here.
Thank you. I would like to call for a motion to amend the agenda, adding item J under new business, consideration of applications to boards and commissions. An additional vacancy has been identified for the Planning Commission. Item K added, consideration of a Freedom of Information cost estimate appeal by Mr. Tom Rhoda.
I'll make a motion, we add K and J to the
I've
agenda.
got more.
Oh, got more?
Okay.
Sorry.
And under communications, add item B, consideration of a resolution of recognition for the retirement of Manistee County Controller Administrator.
I'll make that motion now.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski, second by Councilmember Pontiac. Is there any discussion? Would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed?
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Thank you. Yes.
Motion approved.
Public hearings, we have none. Citizen comments on agenda-related items. This is an opportunity for citizens that are present to make comment on any items listed on the agenda. If you wish to make comment, please come forward to the podium, state your name, your address, and limit your comment to 5 minutes, please. Are there any citizens that wish to make comment?
Jim Matthews, 334 River Street, Manistee. Not so much a comment, but a question on the agenda item for the purchase of the new police cruiser. I'm just curious if there was a competitive bid on that, because it shows only one dealership, one bid was offered. And I'm just curious if there were multiple bids, and if there's practice to just do a single bid on a capital item purchase.
It's several criteria for that. One would be multiple bids. The other would be to select Michigan Deals dealership for that kind of equipment.
So I just noticed it seemed to be just one, or maybe just the note just indicated one, but there may have been more, but that was just a question.
I believe there was actually three. One backed out, two bid.
Sorry?
There was actually three bids.
Okay, because in here.
One didn't want to submit a bid, the other, there were two bids in there.
Okay, I just was curious about that, thank you.
Are there any other citizens that wish to comment? If not, we will move on to the consent agenda. All agenda items marked with an asterisk are on the consent agenda and considered by the city manager to be routine matters. Prior to approval of the consent agenda, any member of council may have an item from the consent agenda removed and taken up during the regular portion of the meeting. Consent agenda items include approval of minutes, payroll, invoices, consideration of ordinance amendment Z 18-03, medical marijuana facilities, and notification regarding the next work session.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski, a second by Councilmember Cooper. Is there any discussion? Would you please take roll?
Councilmember Pontiac?
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Unfinished business, we have none that's on the consent agenda. New business, item A, consideration of resolution 18-03 establishing application and permit fees for medical marijuana facilities in the city of Manistee. On January 2nd, 2018, City Council adopted Ordinance 18-1 that established Chapter 866, medical marijuana facilities, as part of the City of Manistee codified ordinances. Chapter 866 authorized certain medical marijuana facilities in the City of Manistee. The City of Manistee anticipates incurring labor costs for city staff to evaluate applications for medical marijuana facility permits and the ongoing oversight of permits that may be granted. In analyzing the cost associated with the city services, city staff has recommended that council establish a fee for an application for permit, an application for a renewal of a permit already granted as $5,000. The application fee shall also be considered the annual fee for permits granted. At this time, council could take action to adopt Resolution 18-03, establishing application and oversight fees for medical marijuana facility permits in the city of Manistee.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski, a second by Councilmember Beaton. Is there any discussion? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item B, consideration of support for the Little River Band of Ottawa Indians application for a rural business development grant. The Little River Band of Ottawa Indians are requesting a letter of support for their application for a rural business development grant for funds that will be used to explore development options for their property located at the corner of US 31 and M22. If the grant funds are awarded, they will be used to support state funding for a comprehensive feasibility study. At this time, council could take action to authorize the mayor to sign a letter of support.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski and a second by Councilmember Grabowski. Is there any discussion?
Just a comment on it. I think it's probably the move in the right direction. Having lived here for the last 16 years, we've had a couple of accidents, some of them pretty severe, at that corner of 31 and 22. I'm just wondering if they're going to look at putting in a traffic light there. That's just
I have not,
I'm worried about that. I
Yeah.
think we need one.
I've not asked that specific question of the tribe. Just based on my experience, if they're gonna have increased development there, that might help substantiate the need for a traffic signal.
Well, I can tell you, I asked about that same thing, and I keep pushing for it, for them to do some changes there.
Doesn't MDOT have a lot of control over that? They don't
Yes,
really like to
yeah.
put up stop
There's so many
lights.
injuries have to happen and all that before they do that.
Yeah.
Any further comments or discussion? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item D, consideration of rental inspection contract with Spicer Group Incorporated. Spicer Group has a contract to perform the city's rental inspection program for a 3-year term that began on July 8th, 2015 and ends July 7, 2018. Spicer Group completed their contractual obligation by the end of 2017, allowing the rental inspection program to follow a calendar year. Having the rental inspection program operate on a calendar year is the preferred option. As the city is pleased with Spicer Group's performance, the city manager recommends the city enter into a new 3-year agreement with Spicer Group to perform rental inspection services beginning on January 1, 2018, and ending on December 31, 2020. The city attorney prepared and approved contract document. At this time, council could take action to approve a 3-year agreement with Spicer Group to perform rental inspection services.
I'll make the motion.
Oh, you skipped over C.
Second?
I'll second, but we
Okay.
skipped.
Yeah, you skip C. Skip a C.
Oh, I'll get back, okay.
Okay.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski, second by Councilmember Pontiac. Is there any discussion?
Yes. One of the things that I have run into over the past few years is we have rental property in the city of Manistee that's not in the rental program. Do you have any thoughts on how we could make that, make sure that we capture those types of properties? We don't have an ordinance that forces people to actually register. It's,
Never do.
We do have an ordinance that requires the rental properties to be registered, along with going through, it outlines the inspection program.
okay. How is that enforced?
It's when we find one that, or is made known to us that one is not registered, then we would contact the landlord and go through that process.
Okay, because that's been I haven't run into one in a while, but because it's on the agenda, it made me think about the fact that I've run into that as a realtor, that we've had people selling property in the city of Manistee and discovered that they want us to market it as a rental property, but they're not really in the rental program. So
Well,
that's
they-
happened in the past, so I'm sorry if I guess I'm not familiar with the ordinance, I'll have to look it up. But,
And, those situations may arise from time to time, and we just deal with them as we are made aware of them.
okay.
Does the landlord have to report anything that their people moved out and they're re-renting?
I don't know that they have to. Sean, are you familiar with that?
In terms of the actual tenants, we don't know if, who they're renting to, so we don't get notified when there's a change. To your question, Councilman Beaton, is when we're notified that, we get a lot of phone calls and somebody's saying, hey, we believe somebody's renting and we don't believe in the program. So we have a standard letter we send out, we make a phone call, and we kind of do everything in our power to determine, to let them know they need to be in it. And if they're renting, they absolutely have to be in the program. They need to be inspected. And we've probably in the last two years, there might be maybe a dozen or so that we've been made aware of, and they've joined the program. Some, there's reasons, it's just bad information. Somebody thinks they're renting and they have family that's in there. So when we're made aware of it, we try to do something about it.
Do you have any stickers that we put on the electrical boxes or anything to indicate that it's been approved by the city to be in the rental program? So if you're walking into a rental property, it's there, it's obvious?
Actually, we don't have a sticker. That's an interesting question because we have a certificate.
Okay,
And so we issue a certificate to the landlord that they could post. It's made available to them digitally and in a hard copy once they're approved through an inspection.
I'm not sure that everybody that rents thinks along those lines. I think they've gone into situations and they've rented property, and they just think that perhaps they are already in a rental program and that things have been checked out, the electrical, their plumbing, and whatever else is on the checklist to be in the program.
Absolutely. We have run into that. We've talked to tenants that believe they're in the program. We say, actually, you're not. And we follow up on it. But it's hard to go on. And a matter of fact, even some of our employees, when they're driving around, if they see a rental sign, we'll kind of look and see if that address is in the program. But some are just hard to even know, to be aware of them.
I just worry a little bit about it. I don't want somebody to be in a house that's unsafe or an apartment that's unsafe, believing or assuming that they're in the program. So that's why I ask these questions about how we can tighten it down.
Is there an option of like checking whose name is in the, who's paying for the water and who's paying for the property taxes? Is there a way to do that? Cause that usually, doesn't that say if that's renter and then that's the owner?
I don't know if we've gone through that process. We have gone through and looked at home, like properties that are actually homesteaded or not, because it would be a good indicator of the potential of renting. And we've gone through and we've methodically called those property owners. We haven't looked at, I think, the owner versus who's paying the bills as an option.
So, water remains in the homeowner's name unless they do a rental escrow agreement. But we have at times caught stuff like that and cross-reference that with the list. I don't know that we've done it recently, but that is a check. And then I also sometimes get people calling in and saying that there may be a rental property, and we pass that information on. So there is a little bit of that going on.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
I'm a landlord as well, but what are the ramifications if a landlord does not comply with the rental program, and can you attain compliance with a fine or something if they don't comply?
No.
It's under our ordinance, it's a civil infraction if a landlord has not complied with the rental inspection requirements. And so the city could issue a ticket, a civil infraction ticket. And
Is that like a lien against the property or something like that?
No, that's a civil infraction where they could be fined and then ordered by the court to comply.
Okay. Because certainly at the bare minimum, they should have smoke detector, carbon monoxide, and all that.
Correct. There's a checklist.
Okay.
There's a checklist that on every home that we inspect or every rental property we inspect, that you need to satisfy all those items, and then if you satisfy
Right.
them, we'll issue the certificate. So,
Well, obviously I comply, but I wondered, what the ramifications were if someone did not comply.
yeah, they're considered, they're not certified, so they're in essence violating the ordinance.
Okay.
Mr. Saylor, I believe the fine for civil infraction is up to $500.
That's correct. I'm not sure if we have a specific one with regard to that, but that's generally the requirement. And each day is technically a separate violation as well.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. I will go back to item C. I skipped one. I got too many papers here in front of me. Item C, consideration of a resolution recognizing the Manistee Area Chamber of Commerce as a nonprofit organization. The Manistee Area Chamber of Commerce is a 501c6 nonprofit organization. Each year, they receive a raffle license through the Michigan Lottery Charitable Gaming Division for the duck race held during the Manistee National Forest Festival. Prior to the state of Michigan issuing a license for this year's raffle, the Manistee Area Chamber of Commerce must recertify as a local nonprofit organization through recognition by the Manistee City Council. At this time, council could take action to recognize the Manistee Area Chamber of Commerce as a local nonprofit organization for the purpose of applying for the charitable gaming license through the state of Michigan.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Goodspeed, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski. Is there any discussion? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Just making sure I got all of them on that page. So. Item E, consideration of the purchase of a 2018 tandem axle snowplow haul truck. The Department of Public Works has budgeted with motor pool funds to replace truck number 113, the 1999 Sterling. The replacement truck has been priced through 2 Michigan Deal vendors, Cab and Chassis, D&K Truck Company, contract 017B6600119, and Equipment. Truck and Trailer Specialties, contract 071B550010. At this time, council could take action to approve the purchase of a cab and chassis from D&K Truck Company in the amount of $110,246 and equipment from Truck and Trailer Specialties in the amount of $81,387.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski, a second by Councilmember Goodspeed. Is there any discussion?
That truck, is that, what does it have on it that we're replacing it with this bigger truck?
Can you restate that question for me?
Now, what is the difference between the 99 Sterling? Has that got the same usefulness of the city that we're looking to buy a new truck?
The use of the truck will be essentially the same. It's a tandem axle, so it's got a heavier capacity to it. It'll have an underbody scraper for plowing the streets. It'll also have the attachments for the front wings. And actually this truck is a little bit more powerful, so we would use it primarily for pushing back drifts in the heavier areas. Interestingly enough, the 1999 Sterling is a stick shift, and it is extremely hard to operate all the levers to control the blades and the underbody scrapers and control the stick shift. So currently the truck that we would replace does not get used for plowing unless it's the last thing that we've got to use.
And correct me if I'm wrong, with that stick shift, the current CDLs are coming out, they can only drive automatics. That's a restriction?
Correct, unless you take your driving test on the stick shift itself, the state won't endorse you to drive or won't endorse that CDL for the stick shift. So all the other 9 trucks that we have are automatics. The other 8, we have 8 trucks that are automatics. One of them is a automatic with a clutch. Technically, I think that's considered a manual by the state. So the last 2 guys that we got certified with their CDLs are not allowed to drive that 99 Sterling.
Are there any other questions, comments?
Well, how much do you anticipate you might get in for the trade-in for the 99 Sterling?
That's an interesting question. We've researched what similar trucks are out on the market for, so we don't know what they're actually being purchased for, but we can see what they're being listed for. They're anywhere from $5,000 to $30,000. Now, the last time that we sold 3 of those plow trucks, they were smaller plow trucks, but there happened to be several communities, large communities in the state that all had retired 50 or 60 of those trucks at the same time, so there was no market for them. I think we got an average of just under $2,000 a piece for them. This truck, I'm estimating that we could probably get around 8, maybe 10,000 for it, but we'll just have to see what the market will bear.
Okay, well, if you get over 10,000, then you'll be right in line with the capital improvement plan. I think you had that in the capital improvement plan for $180,000 total.
For the motor pool, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're right there on the dollars.
Any other questions? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac?
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton?
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed?
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item F, consideration of the purchase of a 2018 Ford Police Interceptor. The Manistee Police Department maintains a fleet of police cruisers to effectively service the city. In an effort to replace cruisers that are nearing the end of their respective life cycle, it is determined that the purchase of a 2018 Ford Police Interceptor is warranted. Bids have been solicited, and one Ford dealer and emergency vehicle outfitter have been identified that fit the police department specifications. At this time, council could take action to authorize the purchase of a 2018 Ford Police Interceptor from Herod Ziegler Ford Emergency Vehicle Products for the price of $47,401.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Goodspeed, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski. Is there any discussion?
Chief, are all the cars high in mileage, what we got now?
Other than the two vehicles that we just recently have purchased, yes. We actually are retiring one of the other ones because we're gonna need $3,000 worth of work on the engine, so that's being retired a little prematurely, so that will be rotated out with this one coming into the fleet.
Then what do we do, just bid them out, then the cars we're getting rid of?
Probably on the, I think there's a governmental site that you can sell those vehicles on, like an auction site.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the mileage is not a really true picture of just how much that vehicle's been used. I think those engines run a lot, especially in the winter to keep electronics.
I would say probably 4 times the amount that you would have on a mileage on an odometer would be that actual engine life that you would have.
So you've got
on
a lot
cruiser.
actually got a lot of time on that engine.
Correction.
Yeah.
Correct.
Any other comments or questions?
I think also in the capital improvement plan, we had set aside $32,000 for 3 of them. That's breaks down to about $38,000 a vehicle. So it's a little bit more, obviously, than what we had estimated for the capital improvement. What could be the offset for that, or do we need to worry about that? I guess that's a financial question that.
I think initially, and I know I could probably speak on it, I think the initial plan was to lease on these 3 vehicles, and we went to a purchase plan, so we would try to conserve a little money on the interest, and I know.
Well, maybe you could help me out with the financing.
So that was an anticipated cost for 3 vehicles that would be financed over 3 years, and then there was a net out of getting rid of the other police cruisers. But in an effort to buy those annually, we needed to transition this year from financing cars over 3 years to actually buying them and then being able to spread them out, so we're buying one a year to avoid the financing costs. The other piece that raised the cost a little bit is the in-car camera systems need to be replaced.
Okay.
So rather than buying those separately, we're just gonna be incorporating those with the purchases and just phase those in over time as well.
Okay, so this is gonna be cash?
This will be cash,
Okay,
correct?
good
Yep.
to know.
I think the plan was to space them out just a little bit as opposed to ordering all 3 at the same time, so we could do cash purchase as opposed to finance on the vehicles, so.
I was just questioning 47,000 versus approximately 38, that's all.
What's the oldest vehicle that we have right now in the police department?
I'm sorry, say that again?
What's the oldest vehicle we have in the police department right now?
Probably the one that Chief Kozel drives. I want to say that was a 0. It's probably at least 5 years old. At least 5 years old.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper?
Yep.
Councilmember Beaton?
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item G, consideration of a contract with Quality Maintenance Contractors Incorporated to paint the secondary digester cover. The secondary digester cover was constructed in 1979. The original paint on the steel cover has exceeded its useful life. Repainting the cover was publicly bid with the following bids received. Alternate A includes additional work should the existing paint be identified as lead-based. The contractor ABHE and Svoboda Incorporated a base bid of $1,371,790 with an alternative A of $7,700. Lake painting was non-responsive, the bid was not open. Quality Maintenance Contractors Incorporated, base bid $95,216 with alternative A at $10,000. The contract documents were prepared by Spicer Group and approved by the city attorney. At this time, council could take action to approve the low bid submitted by Quality Maintenance Contractors Incorporated to paint the digester cover in the amount of $95,216 plus alternate A if required, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the documents.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski and a second by Councilmember Goodspeed. Is there any questions or discussion?
Yes.
Am I, yeah.
Go ahead.
1,280,000 difference?
Well, I think it was evident that they really didn't want the contract.
Okay.
Well, the engineering estimate on this during the budget process was in the, what, $98,000? So we're
We budgeted 100,000 for this year.
we're pretty much in the ballpark. Have we ever tested that for lead paint? I mean, kits are pretty cheap. Go by the hardware store and get something and scratch the paint.
It has
find
not
out.
been tested for lead-based paint. The thing is, when the way the paint has worn away on the digester cover, the orange color that comes through leaves us with some suspicion that it may be lead-based.
Okay.
So we really don't know. It will be tested to determine that.
Do we have anyone capable of doing the test on staff?
No, that has to be sent into a commercial lab. It's only like $25 a test. It's pretty cheap.
Okay, because I'd hate to get charged for something that wasn't necessary. I know when I worked for the state and did weatherization programs that we would test for lead paint, and you get kits that would give you a quick check on them. All you had to do was swab it, so. But,
This is not that type of
Okay.
test yet.
okay. Any other questions? Please take roll.
Councilmember Pontiac?
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed?
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item H, consideration of the local revenue sharing board grant applications. The local revenue sharing board distributes 2% of the Little River, 2% money from the Little River Casino. The deadline for 2018 Cycle 1 applications is Friday, March 2nd, 2018 at 5 p.m. City staff has prepared 2 grant applications for submission to the local revenue sharing board. The agenda item will include 2 separate motions, one for each application. At this time, council could take action to authorize the submission of a grant application to the local revenue sharing board for FEMA grant matching funds in the amount of $11,466.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski and a second by Councilmember Cooper. Is there any discussion? Would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item I, consideration of designating Michigan planners as the agent of record for medical,
Mayor.
dental.
You missed one.
Mayor, we had one more.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. At this time, council could take action to authorize the submission of a grant application to the local revenue sharing board for an evidence locker system in the amount of $7,555.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski and a second by Councilmember Goodspeed. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to know more about an evidence locker system.
Might have some answers for you.
Okay, great.
We've been working on our evidence system since I got here. Done an audit. We're working on an audit trying to get rid of evidence. 3 things that will put a police department under are guns, drugs, and money. The current system that we have looks like an old, outdated locker system that you might see in the train station. We have 5 lockers. It's in through the door. It's a very old system. The new evidence locker system that I'm proposing to go for on the grant would be a pass-through locker system, which is state-of-the-art, that the officer would put it in on one side, the only person that could take it out would be on the other side, so we would actually have it right into our evidence room. It allows for a lot more transparency, being able to keep up with our audit and security of what we're trying to do as a police department.
If I remember correctly, if evidence is not handled correctly in a process, that it can actually be, the court can actually just say it's no good.
Correct. If you have an issue with your chain of your evidence or anything within your evidence system, you could lose not only that case, but future cases.
Also, accountability is, from my past experience, accountability is really important. You need to account for everything, and everything needs to be in its place, so to speak.
That is true, and we're working on that to try to refine that within our report system.
I'm assuming that the system is fireproof and waterproof?
I can't say waterproof. I think it would have a certain level with a fire retardant, but I don't say that it's fireproof. It's more of just a metal locker system.
But is it waterproof, watertight or waterproof?
As best as it can be. There's still going to be areas that water could get in.
I'm just curious because
Chief, I hate to say anything,
looking
but I
at
think I
waterproof
set
and
up that
fireproof
system.
things.
I'm sorry?
I think I set up that system.
The other one? Oh, boy.
So I'm gonna be looking at your new system when you get it
Okay.
in.
So it's only 10 years old then, right?
Oh, it's old.
Any other comments or questions? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. I will move on to item A. I was so anxious to get to. Yeah. Consideration of designating Michigan planners as agent of record for medical, dental, vision, life, and disability benefits. The city recently issued a request for proposal for employee benefit consultant and agent broker services. The selection committee has interviewed the finalists and recommends that Michigan planners be the city's next agent benefit consultant. At this time, council could take action to designate Michigan planners as agent of record for medical, dental, vision, life, and disability benefits.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski and a second by Councilmember Grabowski. Is there any discussion or comment?
I notice there's no money amount mentioned here. Is there any money involved in?
But they're going to accept the commissions from the insurance carriers, and that's going to be their payment in full.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
My wife does not take the insurance, but because there's been questions before, I guess should I abstain?
I think you're fine.
I figure I am, but I just want to make sure.
Please take roll.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item J, consideration of applications to boards and commissions. The city clerk has taken action to advertise vacancies on the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, Compensation Commission, Historic District Commission, Parks Commission, PEG Commission, Planning Commission, and the Zoning Board of Appeals. Mayoral appointments require a motion, second, and council voted support. Nominations for council appointments do not require a second. After all nominations are made, council votes on the nominee until one nominee receives majority support. The following applications have been received. Historic District Commission. There are 4 vacancies, one term ending 2/28/20, 3 terms ending 2/28/21. Applicants must be city residents. This is a council appointment. Mary Tina Croft, 403 First Street, is the incumbent and has applied for the position.
I make a motion for Mary.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Councilmember Pontiac and a second by Councilmember Beaton. Is there any discussion? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski,
No.
Councilmember Goodspeed,
No.
Mayor Smith,
No.
Councilmember Grabowski,
No.
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Nomination failed.
Thank you. Arts Commission. Let me get to my amended notes here. One vacancy, term ending 6/30/18. Applicants may be non-residents but must own real estate or a business or profession, having a licensed business location in the city, or have a child attending school within the city. This is the mayoral appointment. We have Michael Szymанski, 332 Fifth Avenue, Andy.
Fifth Street.
Fifth Street, excuse me. Andy Emsrith, 298 Third Avenue, and Lenny Rodzga at 7654 Riverside Drive. I would nominate Lenny Rodzga.
I'll support the mayor's appointment.
A second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski, a second by Councilmember Grabowski. Is there any discussion? Would you please take roll?
Councilmember Pontiac,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski,
Yes.
Mayor Smith,
Yes.
motion approved.
Thank you. Planning Commission. There are 2 vacancies, one term ending 10/21/18 and one term ending 10/31/20. Applicants must be city residents. Mayoral appointment. We have 2 applicants for this job. We have Rachel Thomas at 367 Lighthouse Way South and Michael Szymанski, 332 Fifth Street. I nominate Raquel Thomas at 367 Lighthouse Way South.
I'll support.
For which one?
Rachel Thomas.
For this ending 2018?
Yeah, for the 2018. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski and a second by Councilmember Goodspeed. Is there any discussion? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed,
Yes.
Mayor Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac,
Yes.
approved.
Thank you. I nominate Michael Szymanski, 332 Fifth Street.
I'll second it, or else, whatever, make a motion to support the mayor's.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Councilmember Goodspeed and a second by Councilmember Grabowski. Is there any discussion? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Pontiac,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Smith,
Yes.
motion approved.
Thank you. Zoning Board of Appeals, one vacancy, regular member, 3-year term ending 5/31/20. This is a mayoral appointment. Glenn C. Zaring, 321 Fifth Street, who is currently a member. I would nominate Glenn C. Zaring.
Support.
Second it.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski and a second by Councilmember Goodspeed. Is there any discussion? Would you please take roll?
Councilmember Beaton,
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed,
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski,
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Yes.
Mayor Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac,
Yes.
motion approved.
Thank you. Item K, added. Consideration of a Freedom of Information Cost Estimate Appeal, Mr. Tom Rhoda. Mr. Tom Rhoda submitted a Freedom of Information Act request to the city. An estimate of the cost for complying with the request was developed, indicating a cost of $241.30. Mr. Rhoda appealed the cost decision. An amended response was sent to Mr. Rhoda showing a cost of $120.65 with a deposit of $60.33, which is one half the cost. A Freedom of Information Act worksheet was supplied to Mr. Rhoda and council setting forth the corrected cost. Staff supports council granting the appeal, finding that the determination of cost as contained in the Freedom of Information Act worksheet is accurate and complies with the city's publicly available procedures and guidelines, and lowering the cost to $120.65 with a deposit of $60.33. At this time, council could take action on the Freedom of Information Act cost estimate appeal of Tom Rhoda to either deny the appeal or grant the appeal, finding that the determination of cost as contained in the worksheet is accurate and complies with the city's publicly available procedures and guidelines, and lower the fee to $120.65 with a deposit of $60.33, or grant the appeal and determine some other amount for the cost of the Freedom of Information Act.
I'll make the motion that we grant the appeal and lower the fee to $120.65 with a deposit of $60.33.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski and a second by Councilmember Pontiac. Is there any discussion?
I'm just, maybe I should try to rephrase this. I'm curious if city staff had a direction for these three options. What did you feel was the best option? Can I ask that question, Mr. Taylor?
That was,
You certainly can.
that was in the motion, John.
It's in the motion, I believe, that
Staff supports council grounding the appeal.
Okay, so that
also-
matches with number 2.
Yeah, and also lowering the cost. There was just a computation mistake in the original estimate.
Okay.
And it was found when we were putting together receipts in anticipation of Mr. Rana coming in and pay. And so it was caught at that time, and we were made aware of it tail end of last week and made efforts to correct the mistake, and he was noticed of it.
Okay, I apologize then. Okay, that's great. Thank you.
We received and amended the council agenda tonight based on an email as opposed to a posting with our regular agenda items. There is a time frame that has to be observed in recognizing an appeal and dealing with that. and we will deal with that tonight, but Mr. Saylor, you would recommend that it be placed on the next council regular agenda to have an opportunity for Mr. Rhoda to come in and make a public statement on the appeal?
Yes, Mayor. In the past, we've always certainly given the opportunity for someone that was appealing a FOIA to present their case, if you will. Mr. Rada, my understanding, has emailed City Council tonight indicating that he was not coming because he had looked at the agenda and didn't see it on the agenda. And so in all fairness to him, I think that allowing him the opportunity, if he chooses to come to next council meeting where council would redecide this issue is the right thing to do. But because of the time constraints, we are required to make a decision at this council meeting. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski?
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. We move on to notices, communications, and announcements. An added item, item B, is consideration of a resolution recognizing the retirement of Manistee County Controller and Administrator. Mr. Thomas D. Kaminsky will retire from the position of Manistee County Controller Administrator on February 28, 2018. A resolution of thanks and appreciation has been prepared recognizing Mr. Kaminsky's service to the citizens of Manistee County. At this time, council could take action to adopt a resolution of thanks and appreciation to Thomas D. Kaminsky as he retires from the position of Manistee County Controller and Administrator.
I'll make the motion.
I will second that motion.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski, second by Councilmember Goodspeed. Is there any discussion? Would you please take roll?
Councilmember Pontiac?
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed?
Yep.
Councilmember Beaton?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Damn.
You betcha. You're there.
Yeah, we move on to item 10, concerns and comments. Citizen comment. This is an opportunity for citizens to comment on municipal services, activities, or areas of city involvement. Citizens in attendance shall be recognized by the mayor for comments limited to 5 minutes. Letters submitted to council will not be publicly read. Are there any citizens that wish to make comment? Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you had read in your, my name is Dave Keefe Jr. As you had read in your, the resolution for Mr. Kaminsky, he will be retiring next week. I have been hired as the new controller administrator for Manistee County. I'm trying to get out there and introduce myself to the local units of government. I spent nine years, 3 months as a supervisor in Muskegon Charter Township in Muskegon. We were a full-service township, just like a city here. And I want to make sure that coming from the local level of government, I want to make sure I get out and introduce myself and build relationships with the councils of the villages, with the city, the villages, and the township. So I just want to come tonight and introduce myself, and I look forward to getting to know all of you. So.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Are there any other citizens that wish to make comment? Yes.
Jim Matthews again. Just to follow up on my comment earlier, for all the capital items, is there a way to codify a life cycle to those capital items to say, the truck's gonna last us 10 years, the police cruiser's gonna last us 3 years, 5 years, so that at future meetings and when these come up again, people will know what that investment was and if it met its objectives for the city, other than just people's memory, because if you're amortizing costs over a certain amount of years by doing a capital purchase, and you should be bankrolling for the replacement, and you got to know when that's going to happen, rather than somebody just puts it in the budget and surprises you 1 year.
There's two instruments. One is a 10-year rolling plan for replacement of motor pool assets. The other is it was either in the budget or in the attachment that these type of vehicles typically have a 15 to 18-year lifespan. And I know we talked about it because we've purchased 3 plow trucks in the last 3 years. And the expense of these trucks is such that they typically have to be financed, and I think council has expressed an interest to spread them out a little bit, so maybe we get in a position where we're able to purchase them as opposed to finance them, and save on the interest charge. But
Yeah, I agree.
various vehicles do have, I mean, Mr. McCullough, you could come up and speak to that if you'd like.
Well, I mean, and maybe it's been discussed, and I don't want to overdo it, but just as if when you look at it from maybe just the notes in here, it would save questions being asked by somebody from the audience like myself to say, well, how long did that last, and how long is the next one going to last, so that we know that we don't have 4 or 5 or whatever large capital items that are going to hit us in a single year, if we can manage that budget more than annually, but more with a longer outlook. So it's just, it may have been discussed, but I'd like to see it codified. So, okay, thank you.
That's an excellent point. And so, in the motor pool, starting last year, we've been able to upgrade our spreadsheet and tables, and we have forecasted out the next 20-year cycles for replacement and aging of those vehicles, and matching that to the revenue and expense stream. Every year that's going to get updated. Obviously, things change year to year, but at least we've laid out the entire fleet now so that we can forecast those out. In the example of a plow truck purchase tonight, we have 10 plow trucks. So if you're looking at replacing one truck every 2 years, that would take a 20-year time frame to do that in. The plow trucks are estimated to, their estimated life is about 16 years. I think the truck that you approved tonight, the haul trucks don't have as much of the heavy wear as the frontline trucks do. So maybe we can get 18 years out of those. The truck that we'll be replacing is 19 years old. We also have one that is 23 years old. Last year, and that's the truck I really wanted to replace, but we dropped the transmission on it last year. So we had to put about $6,000 of expense to put that vehicle back on the road. And so with that $6,000 vehicle being almost what it's worth, we decided to extend the life of that one out until the next cycle. So we are forecasting those out and also managing the budgets over that time frame.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any other citizens that wish to make comment? If not, we will move on to officials and staff. City manager,
Nothing at this time.
city attorney,
Nothing, Your Honor, thank you.
okay. City clerk,
Nothing, Your Honor.
planning and zoning director, public safety director, public works director.
Golly, I should have just stayed up here. This is very happy to announce this. Last week, the state of Michigan sent the city a letter informing us of a new pilot grant project that they have for water systems. And they invited the city of Manistee to apply for this. The amount would be up to $1 million, no grant match for it. And the reason why they offered this to the city is because of our past history in executing state revolving fund and drinking water revolving fund loan program with the state. And also because of their past experience in working with the city, they feel that we've got the ability to accomplish the project within the timeframes that they have. So what this is really for is, we still have some discussions to flush a lot of the information out, but what it appears is that with all the new mandates that are coming down the line for the lead and copper rules and trying to get those old pipes out of the water system, the service leads, it appears that they're giving out a number of these grants to be able to see how communities can perform in removing old lead and galvanized pipes out of the water system. We've done some rough calculations, and we believe that with $1 million, we would be able to remove between 300 and 450 service lines. Now, we're not aware of any lead lines that are in our system, but certainly there are a lot of old galvanized lines, probably about 1,800 roughly. So part of the money would be used to upgrade the inventory of the service lines. The rest would be to actually physically replace those. So we're sending in our notice to the state that we'd like to apply for that grant. That letter should be going out tomorrow. And then I believe it's the first of the month that we have to have our, do you remember when that was?
The end of March.
End of March is when our actual grant application would need to be submitted, so.
So at the second meeting in March, we'll bring back the grant application that we intend to submit, so council can take a look at it and approve it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Chief Financial Officer.
Nothing,
City Engineer.
Nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
Rick, do you have anything you want? No. Okay. Council members, Mr. Cooper.
Yeah, I'd like to wish my condolences to Ed Bradford for the loss of his mother, and also to our council person here for the loss of her mother. And I welcome the new, are you called the comptroller administrator now, or what? Yes. Just do I got the name? Welcome to Manistee.
I want to thank City Council for indulging me tonight in my questions, and even though obviously a couple of them I could have done some more homework on, that's the best I could do. And I appreciate all the support you have given me. Thank you.
I'm good, thank you.
I'm good.
I'm good, nothing.
I just want to say, with the chili cook-off this weekend, it was good, and good job everyone for getting everybody out and around.
Okay, I would like to recognize Mr. Honko. You stand up. 20 years ago today, Chief Honko retired from the Manistee Police Department. I used to read the paper sometime. Bob, congratulations on a distinguished career with the city of Manistee. David, welcome. Look forward to seeing you in the morning at a meeting. Good to see you here and on the job. Thanks to all the council members. Again, my condolences to Linda for the recent passing of her mother, and Mr. Bradford. Godspeed. You know, I hate to see that when it comes to my mom, but you know, we all have those things. Thank you. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Yeah, I'll put another one up there.
Before you leave,